even though we didn't even have enough to begin with?
Well, it depends on what the priorities are from the past administration, but in this
Are
administration...
inspections not priorities?
They are priorities to protect the
But with
American
less
worker.
inspectors, you can't do investigations.
What we don't want to do is weaponize the use of those funding
Before we
dollars.
get started, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Capital Truthline, and turn on notifications because this is where we cut through the political theater and bring you the truth the mainstream media refuses to tell you. What you're about to see is a perfect example of how the left weaponizes hearings for clips and headlines, and how real leadership shuts it down.
Well, my father was a Teamster.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'm a former AFSCME member, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the child labor enforcement. In 2 appropriations hearings last month, you expressed a firm commitment to fighting illegal child labor. At the same time, your agency has decimated ILAP, including its work to prevent child labor. Your budget proposal will weaken a historically under-resourced wage and hour division. The nominee to be your solicitor of labor wrote a chapter in Project 2025, which literally calls for the rolling back of child labor laws. Madam Secretary, can you assure this committee that you will not propose any rollbacks of child labor rules that prevent children from being employed in hazardous occupations?
I commit to fighting against all child labor exploitation. Absolutely, in this country, we do not want to exploit our children. Consistent with putting the American worker first, the budget does streamline ILAB, that is one of the agency departments that protect the American worker and protect against child labor violations. And the budget provides for about $70 million to ILAB, including $38 million in grant funding, while restoring ILAB's emphasis on putting the American worker first.
So that's a long way of you saying yes?
I will work absolutely to combat all child labor.
Wonderful. Many workers across the country will feel the impacts of your staffing and funding cuts to WHD and OSHA. As of May 2025, WHD employs just 611 investigators nationwide. This is the lowest number since at least 1973, even though there are nearly 10 times as many workers and businesses for them to cover. Your budget proposal cutting the office by $25 million, with staffing projected to fall. Your budget would also cut OSHA inspectors by over 12%, even though currently it will take 185 years to inspect every workplace just once. Madam Secretary, what is the plan to keep workers safe when you're slashing enforcement?
Yeah, no, thank you again. Again, one of the overall core missions is to protect the American worker, and that includes in the wage and hour division as well. And while we are streamlining and doing some cost saving for the American taxpayer, we will always be in compliance with our statutory requirements.
Well, that doesn't, Madam Secretary, if I can just interrupt for 1 second. At one point, DOGE was set to close 20 WHD field offices and 11 OSHA offices. If this is happening, how will this protect workers?
So the offices that we have been, that were originally proposed through GSA, we have worked with to bring them online. I don't think that that is a good use of the compliance issue, that we have to protect the American worker. And through the DRP, none of our essential workers, either through wage and hour, through OSHA, through MSHA, were able to take those because we know we need those investigators on the ground to protect the American worker, and I advocated for that.
Yeah, but having fewer investigators and inspectors will not protect workers from wage theft, misclassification, and dangerous working conditions. So how are you going to operate with less, even though we didn't even have enough to begin with?
Well, it depends on what the priorities are from the past administration, but in this administration...
Are inspections not priorities?
They are priorities to protect the
But with
American
less
worker.
Inspectors, you can't do investigations.
What we don't want to do is weaponize the use of those funding dollars against...
How is there weaponization if it's going to take you 187 years to complete inspections and you're cutting the inspectors that are supposed to do those inspections? The math is not mathing.
Well, statutorily, we will protect the American worker. We did not have any of our investigators currently. We're not able to take the DRP in order so that they can be assigned to the job that they are required
So
to do.
are you saying that you're
always
going to
enforce
hire more investigators to do inspections?
What I'm saying is we did not allow our statutorily mandated offices that we need essential workers like our investigators through wage and hour, through MSHA, and through OSHA to take the DRP because they are essential to protecting the American worker in these industries. We can still cost save and do the job that we need to do.
So American workers can expect that you will expedite investigations to make sure that we are assuring their safety.
American workers can expect that the Department of Labor will protect the American worker, as that is a core mission of the Department of Labor.
Today we're reacting to a congressional exchange that perfectly exposes the difference between political activism and actual governance. Representative Ilhan Omar tried to corner Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer with emotional talking points, scary statistics, and the usual left-wing fear narrative. And instead of getting the soundbite she wanted, she got something she's clearly not used to: calm, competent resistance. Right out of the gate, Omar tried to frame the discussion around union credentials and child labor, attempting to morally corner the secretary before even getting to the policy. This is a classic tactic. You frame yourself as morally superior, then accuse your opponent of endangering children and workers. But Secretary Chavez-DeRemer didn't flinch. She made it clear that protecting American workers and preventing child labor exploitation is not negotiable and remains a core mission of the Department of Labor. Omar then pivoted to staffing numbers. She threw out statistics about how long it would take OSHA to inspect every workplace and claimed investigator levels are at historic lows. What she didn't mention is the context. America is drowning in debt. Federal agencies have grown bloated, inefficient, and unaccountable. The idea that the solution is always more money, more inspectors, and more bureaucracy is exactly how we got here. Here's the moment that really matters. Secretary Chavez-DeRemer said something the left absolutely hates. She said the government should not weaponize funding. That's the line that stopped Omar cold. Because it's true. When agencies have unlimited budgets and unchecked power, enforcement becomes selective. Certain industries get targeted. Certain businesses get harassed. And it just so happens those businesses are often politically inconvenient. The secretary explained that essential investigators were not allowed to leave under reduction programs. That matters. It means enforcement didn't disappear. It means the Department of Labor is prioritizing where resources actually matter instead of blindly expanding government for the sake of appearances. Omar kept interrupting, kept pushing, kept insisting that fewer inspectors automatically means unsafe workers. That's not reality. Businesses have legal liability. They have insurance. They have productivity concerns. And they have every incentive to keep workers safe. The left's worldview assumes that without federal agents hovering over every workplace, chaos erupts. That's an insult to American workers and American businesses. This entire exchange exposed what this debate is really about. The left wants a massive administrative state that can be used as a political weapon. Secretary Chavez-DeRemer is saying we can protect workers, enforce the law, and still respect taxpayers and job creators. That's not radical. That's responsible leadership. Ilhan Omar wanted a villain for her next campaign clip. Instead, she ran into someone who understands budgeting, governance, and constitutional limits. And that's exactly why this moment matters.